Greetings from Super Recaps. Today I'm going to show you the 1985 action classic Commando. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications to get new video alerts. Beware of spoilers ahead. Early in the morning, two garbage guys are spotted hanging off the sides of a garbage truck as it drives through the streets of a suburban neighborhood. Lawson, a former commando, jumps out of bed startled by the early arrival of the garbage workers, and rushes outside with the rubbish. When he approaches the vehicle, the two garbage guys identify themselves as Cook and Diaz, two extremely skilled assassins who pull out their weapons and begin shooting, murdering him. Later, Cook is at a car dealership, when a salesperson Forrestal, a former military man, tries to sell him a vehicle, but he takes the vehicle and runs over Forrestal on his way out. One of the seamen, Bennett, a former commando, enters his boat at a fishing yard and observes Cook and Diaz. Cook pulls out a remote control, sets off a bomb, and blows up the boat as it sets sail. Elsewhere, former Colonel John Matrix, a retired U.S. commando, goes about his daily routine of cutting wood when his daughter Jenny tries to sneak up on him. John hears a helicopter approaching as the father and daughter are eating breakfast. Jackson and Harris are instructed to protect the area by Major General Franklin Kirby as he exits the helicopter. In a meeting with John, Kirby lets him know that the former commandos who were a part of John's unit are being murdered. While Kirby leaves to look into who is responsible for the attacks, Jackson and Harris are left to protect John and his daughter. John notices danger as the Major General takes off and grabs his daughter to run for cover as Diaz emerges from the bushes and fires his weapon. Jackson gets injured right away while Harris is killed by the assassin. Before going to retrieve his armory from the shed, John advises Jenny to hide in her room. When he gets back to the house, he discovers that Jenny has already been abducted and that Jackson is dead. Diaz informs John that his people are in possession of Jenny and that if he wants to see his daughter once more, he must work with him. John disagrees and kills Diaz. After killing Diaz, he starts pursuing Diaz's men. He forces a car off the hillside and starts pursuing them using its momentum. John's scheme fails, and he is ultimately taken prisoner. Bennett, the man who allegedly perished in the boat explosion, shockingly discloses to John that he is one of his adversaries. Bennett claims that everything happening to him is retaliation for the time that John had him kicked out of the commando squad. Then he shoots John with a tranquilizer. Later, with a table attached to him and Bennett's men all around him, John awakens in a room. Then he meets Arias, an exiled Latin American dictator who wants John to assassinate the new leader of the imaginary nation of Val Verde so that he can retake the throne. If John refuses, Arias threatens to torture and kill Jenny. Bennett and his men accompany John to the airport, where Henriques will accompany John on his flight to Val Verde, and one of them, Sully, will make sure the commando boards the aircraft. John is warned by Bennett that he will kill Jenny if neither of his men provides him with an update. John thus appears to follow Bennett's orders and enters the aircraft with Henriques and Sully. John inquires a flight attendant inside about the duration of the trip. She estimates that it will take 11 hours, so John kills Henriques in silence while concealing him with a cap and blanket to make him appear to be asleep. As the aircraft takes off, he quickly exits and sets his timer for 11 hours. Sully phones Arias and informs him that the commando is following their instructions as he is unaware of John's escape from the plane. Following a woman called Cindy to her car, John grabs her and persuades her to follow Sully's vehicle. They follow him to a shopping center, where John tells Cindy about his situation. She pretends to believe him, but as soon as he releases her, she accuses him of being a deranged kidnapper and reports him to a mall security guard. The security team rushes to face John. Sully spots Cindy, and as he moves closer to her, he sees the commando battling the security personnel. He rushes to a payphone right away, but John prevents him from calling Arias by tearing the entire phone booth from the wall. John is surrounded by security personnel, allowing Sully to flee. As Sully approaches the elevator, John fights them off. Just as one of the soldiers is about to shoot John, Cindy realizes her mistake and pushes the soldier down the stairs. She ignores the injured guard's commands to stop and flees, turning herself into a wanted person. John pursues Sully into the parking lot, where their foot chase turns into a chase with cars. He follows Sully into the road in Cindy's car before stopping for Cindy. Cindy asks John several questions as he weaves erratically through traffic in pursuit of Sully, perplexed by everything that has happened. Sully begins shooting at John and Cindy as John tries to run Sully's car off the road, causing the cars to drift off the roadway. When Sully's car turns over and John and Cindy collide with a nearby pole, the chase comes to a stop. A motel room key is taken out of Sully's pocket by the commando as he moves over to him. When Sully tries to negotiate, the man says he can transport John to his appointment with Cook and that Cook knows where Jenny is before hanging the man over the edge of a cliff. However, John already knows where Sully would meet Cook after seeing his motel key, so he drops the man into the abyss. After that, John and Cindy get in Sully's car and drive to the motel. Arias and Bennett drive Jenny to one of the former dictator's villas on a separate island after stepping onto a pier. Then they leave after locking the girl in a room. Before Arias and Bennett realize that John didn't travel to Val Verde, he flashes Cindy a picture of Jenny and tells her he needs to find his daughter while speeding through traffic. They enter the motel room after checking in. Cook pulls up and knocks on the door while they look for hints. John starts the shower, giving the impression that Cindy was present and enjoying herself with Sully. Cook enters after she answers the door, presuming she is Sully's date. The two men fight for their lives as the commando launches an attack. John is unconcerned when Cook admits that he was a Green Beret in the past. Before going outside to search his car, the commando shoots him. Cindy discovers a gasoline receipt with the address of a hangar for private aircraft. John recognizes the hangar as the location where he woke up after Bennett shot him with the tranquilizer. They get there using Cook's car. When John enters through the roof, he discovers a large group of Arias rebel warriors transporting weapons. Before opening the window for Cindy, he enters the control room and kills one of the rebels. They discover that Jenny is being imprisoned on an island and that they may travel there via a seaplane from San Pedro. John decides they must first go shopping before getting on the plane. They break into a weapons store and take everything inside, including explosives, rocket launchers, and rifles. The majority of the guns are taken to the car by Cindy, but John is detained before he can follow. She chases after the police car he is riding in and uses the rocket launcher to free him. Arias questions Bennett at the villa about when John's plane would arrive in Val Verde and whether or not the commando will cause any trouble. John won't do anything to endanger the life of his daughter, Bennett assures him, and the plane will land in less than 2 hours. After arriving in San Pedro, John and Cindy take off in the stolen seaplane in the direction of Arias's island. Jenny searches for a way out of the room at the villa. Bennett informs that the commando would come for Arias after completing his task in Val Verde. The seaplane is landed outside the island's shores when John and Cindy arrive the following morning. The airliner lands in Val Verde at the same time and the cap hiding Henriquez's face slips off. While rolling approaching the shore and preparing for battle, John tells Cindy to radio Major General Kirby. He travels to the villa and takes in Arias's personal troops. He then plants several explosives all over the rebel base before killing a few soldiers quietly. Bennett's men are waiting for John and Henriquez to get off the plane when they notice a body being carried out on a stretcher instead. They examine the body and discover that Henriquez is inside. When the guys phone Arias, the dictator demands that Bennett kill Jenny. John detonates the explosives just as Bennett enters Jenny's room, starting the battle. Bennett breaks through the door and discovers Jenny has just escaped. The cunning man then pursues the young girl. On his route to the villa, John keeps dispatching waves of Arias soldiers. Finally, Cindy is able to radio for General Kirby, who receives her message. The commando gains control of an M60 machine gun during the battle and slaughters more of Arias's soldiers, allowing him to enter the villa. Arias joins the battle with an assault rifle before being shot dead by John. Bennett chases Jenny into the basement with the intention of killing her, but John follows them and challenges Bennett to a knife battle. Although it's a challenging battle, John eventually defeats his opponent. When John meets General Kirby on the beach after saving his daughter, General Kirby offers him his former job as a commando, but John realizes he is done being an assassin and turns to Cindy and his devoted daughter for comfort. The end. Thanks for watching. To support the channel, subscribe and leave a like.